All right, so for in-fight weapon access, as far as like how you're going to prioritize the work, as far as what priorities you're going to make, is the first thing is you're going to control the weapon, okay? That means a couple different things, okay? Meaning if there is a weapon out, you're going to fight to make sure you control that, okay? Because the weapon is a force multiplier and it does more damage than any strike that we can throw, okay? So you're gonna, and you're also gonna, that also means you're gonna control the access, okay? Control access to weapons. So that means control the weapon if it's out, and also control the access to weapons. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier as far as like, how do we know the people we're fighting are armed? Well, we don't. So that means we have to fight them as if they might be armed. So that's what I mean by control the weapon. That's your first priority of work, okay? Second priority of work is you're going to fight for the dominant position, okay? Dominant position, okay? And that looks very different depending on where you're at. Whether you're pinned or you're in the clinch, you're going to fight for a dominant position. That typically looks like a double underhook, maybe a underhook and an arm tie, wrist tie, or something like that. Depends, all right? Because you have to make sure that you're still following that first priority of work. Make sense? Okay. Third priority of work is going to be do damage at every opportunity, okay? Now, at the ranges that we find ourselves clinching and grappling, strikes are always available. They're always there. And this is typically the hardest thing I have, I find that students don't do, is like they don't strike enough. They'll typically get focused on just the control and grappling standpoint and controlling the weapon and getting in that position that they forget all about the striking, okay? As far as what strikes are going to do, it's like I don't necessarily need to teach you because they're there, okay? So at the range is where like he can touch me, I can touch him, pretty much any strike's available, okay? But once I start getting into a dominant position, let's say something like, we'll say like a wrist and elbow pin here, right? Boom, right? Now I can pretty much just throw a strike here. Do I have to teach you guys the mechanic and the hip movement and stuff like that? Not really, right? Because I bundled him up to where I've controlled the access to the weapon, right? Control the weapon, got a dominant position, now I'm just doing damage, okay? And again, damage has to be what? Appropriate and minimal to the situation.